So I wanted to give you a honest review on whether I think it's actually worth spending that much money on a pair of cycling shoes. So these are the Giro Empire VR90 women's specific shoe. They are 2-bolt SPD. Yeah, the reason I just wanted to start off by saying the reason that I actually prefer mountain bike shoes or like a touring shoe is because I use them to go on long rides. I want to walk in between. I don't really like road shoes. The only time I want to wear a road shoe is if I'm at the velodrome, which isn't very often. So that's what I use when I'm out on the roads. And yeah, that's why I wanted a pair of mountain bike. So the reason that I ended up buying these was because I had the Specialized Sporita, which were about 70 quid, and I had them they were the first pair of shoes that I had, so I've had them for a good few years, and they were trash. I commuted in them. They were just beyond like cleaning up. I tried so many times to clean them and hung on to them. Like Jay even was just like, you need to get rid of those shoes. He kept telling me. I was like, no, I'll keep them a bit longer. So I eventually decided, I was looking around, I was looking at the new version of Specialized, and they just all looked a little bit, I don't know, there was just something about them that just didn't fit right. They just didn't feel good on my feet, and I just got so used to the other ones that I just didn't want to let the old ones go. And then Jay had a pair of the men's version of these, and my friend Darius, he has a pair as well. He has a road version actually, and I was like, do you know what, I'll get them, try them on and see if I like them. So I bought them off Wiggle. They were like £220, and I had them in the box for months. I tried them on, I liked them, I was like, yeah, they're nice, but they're ridiculously expensive. By anyone's standards, they are a very, very expensive shoe. So I had them in the box. I persevered with the old ones for months, and I was like, do you know what, I'm just going to start wearing them. And the main benefits that I really like about these, I'm going to start by giving you the pros, because there are quite a lot. So if you can see there, they've got a really thick sole. It's Vibram sole, so they're really thick and really sturdy. And like you can see on the end of the toe there, really, really thick sole. And when you are riding as much as I am doing kind of longer distance stuff, doing weekends away, weeks away, they just get trashed, and they have stood up really, really well so far. I'm really pleased. I've had them probably been wearing them for about 6-7 months now. So that's the main thing that I like about them. The second thing that I like is the fact that the whole shoe is covered with fabric. My older shoe had like a massive mesh sections in them, so they're great if you're in like hot weather, but when you're in the UK and it rains and it's windy, it just made your feet really cold. So my feet are really, really warm in these, even without overshoes and over socks. Another thing that I really liked about these, and obviously the main reason that I chose these, is because they are synthetic, they're not leather. So obviously I'm vegan, I don't want to be having leather shoes. And one thing that actually really put me off these is the fact that they're laces, but that is actually for me one of the main benefits, because I've got really wide feet and I've got a really narrow section on the back. I don't even know what the back of that's called. What is it called, that part of your foot? I've got no idea. So I find it really difficult to find shoes that fit properly, and when you're on the bike you want to feel like your shoes are on your feet properly, because that's where your power is coming from. So I was a bit reluctant because laces, pedals, you don't want to get them tangled. There is like a little section there where you actually just slip them in. It's like, can you see that? It's like elasticated, and so you just like push the laces behind, so you tie them up, push them behind, and then they just stay there. And the fact that there is laces means that I can really get it to fit properly on my foot, which I really, really like. Also, one of the other benefits you get is the insoles. So you get these specific inserts. You get 3 different ones. You get a small, medium and large, depending on how thick you want your I can't think of the word, your insole to be built up. So when I had my bike fit, one of my feet is flatter, so then I have to make sure that my foot is built up so that it makes sure that my knee is aligned when I'm cycling. If it's not, then I get a little bit of knee pain, so that's a really important factor, and that's something that you wouldn't get in a cheaper shoe. So I think that is kind of like that extra added premium element of it, and I really like that. I've had no trouble in comparison to the foot beds that cost around 90 quid just for the insoles. Like, they do the exact same job, so that's another benefit of those. They are the main pros. I would say the cons of this shoe is just the price. They are just ridiculously expensive. And I guess the main question is, do you need to spend £200 on a pair of cycling shoes? The answer is no. But for me, I wear these shoes so often. I want them to be comfortable. I want them to be durable. I use them a lot. They are probably the most used pair of shoe that I own. Maybe the amount of hours worn, more so than I guess my trainers, because when I'm on the bike, I do some long days on the bike, and you want them to be comfortable, and that is what's going to make you ride more if you've got something that's very comfortable, because they are, and I've not really spoken about that, they are really comfortable. They are like slippers. My friend Darius always says this about his pair. He's like, yes, they're like slippers, and actually they are really comfortable. It's like with a good saddle, you know it's there, but you don't feel it, and that's what you can say about a good saddle or a good pair of shoes, is that you know that they're there, but you can't feel them. There's no like pinching, there's no... So for me, if you've got wide feet, I really like them. I really, really do like them. Would I buy them again? Potentially yes, because it is something that I feel like... I mean, you know me. You know I'm not into like bling wheels. I'm not into bling bikes. I'm not into like having to spend thousands of pounds on something just because it's got a brand on it, or just because it's got a name on it, or because it's, 50 grams lighter than an alternative expensive version. That is not me at all. But I don't want to cut corners on my shoes or like comfort of my clothes when I'm riding. I just don't. And I'm happy with them. And if you're happy with your shoes, then tell us what they are. Like, if you've had a really good pair of shoes that you're really happy with, let us know about them, because there's be people out there that want recommendations of shoes. The only other pair that I would potentially going to buy were the the Shimano newer version, but because they are Velcro and I've got wide feet, the Velcro had to be like practically unvelcroed, if that makes sense. So what's the point? And that's what happened with my old version. Like, they were barely coming across my feet. So if you've got narrow feet, they're perfect. Also the Boa kind, they're really good if you've got wide feet as well. I did actually try a pair of a Bontrager pair on, mountain bike version, but they were just so clunky, and I find that's kind of what I like about these, is there's nothing really on the market that's kind of a mixture between a road shoe of how it looks but having the benefit of a mountain bike sole, whereas most of the mountain bike shoes are very clunky. So until there are more manufacturers that get into this touring style of shoe, then I guess I am going to end up paying £200 because they fit my needs. And if something fits your needs, then it doesn't really matter. It obviously not it shouldn't matter what it costs, but they just have you, don't they? They have you over a barrel with cycling stuff. Like, it's always a bit of a running joke, because like I talk about this to a lot of people. Like, I'm really good with my money. I don't waste it on a lot of things. I don't just go out and like get drunk or spend it on loads of random clothes. But if it comes to the bike, I will pay out if it's something that is really going to benefit me. And I guess that's what I would say. If you've got the money and it is something that you really want and something that works for you, then spend the money. If it doesn't work for you, don't spend the money just because it's a name and because it costs £200. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your favourite shoes in the comments below, and I'll see you next video. These cycling shoes cost £220, so I wanted to give you a honest review on whether I think it's actually worth spending that much money on a pair of cycling shoes. So these are the Giro Empire VR90 women's specific shoe. They are 2-bolt SPD. Yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying the reason that I actually prefer mountain bike shoes, or like a touring shoe, is because I use them to go on long rides. I want to walk in between. I don't really like road shoes. The only time I want to wear a road shoe is if I'm at the velodrome, which isn't very often. So that's what I use when I'm out on the roads. And yeah, that's why I wanted a pair of mountain bike. So the reason that I ended up